Hey everyone, this is Dan Ritterman with another episode of the Tenant Side presented by Tactix Real Estate Advisors. Joined today by Alon Seltzer. He's a top producing realtor with Compass here in Philadelphia. He's immersed in Philadelphia city life like few others. He resides on Rittenhouse Square, a place his family has called home for more than 70 years, and he has his finger on the pulse of the local real estate market. His unparalleled firsthand knowledge makes Alon an astute negotiator and advisor. And I'm very excited to talk to him today on this episode of the Tenant Side because, as you know, we are discussing with different industry leaders about how the COVID pandemic has been affecting business and life in Philadelphia. And who better to talk to than someone with their finger on the pulse of the residential market? I'm also joined by my colleague from Tactix Real Estate Advisors, Gary Lozoff. Gary, Alon, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
This is our little Lower Merion Triangle, right?
That's right. That's right.
I'm finally on this. I've been wanting to join you guys.
That's
No,
right.
We really appreciate it.
Well, Alon, you're a high-level athlete, right? You played at Lower Merion High School as a varsity member of a great basketball squad. You played collegiate basketball. So I'm fond of using sports analogies to apply to business and other aspects of life. Was it a deep corner three for you or a shot in the painted area to make the move that you did not all that long ago with other members of your team from Berkshire Hathaway to Compass? After all, Berkshire Hathaway is the 10,000-pound gorilla in the market. Compass was barely known at the time that you and your team moved over there.
Right.
Explain it.
So I tell people this because I get this question all the time. You can be a top producer at Berkshire Hathaway, at Keller Williams, at Coldwell Banker, at Compass, right? No one's doing the work for you, right? So it's not like you have to be a Compass to be successful. That's not true at all. I think I made the decision, just like many people made the decision, because we were searching for something new, right? We were searching for either new technology, a change, new excitement, things of that nature. And we wanted to be a part of a company where they were nimble and they were open to suggestions and then able to act really fast. And that's not to put down other companies, but when you're a newer company, you have the ability to change, right? Change pace, change course. So that's really why many of my colleagues made the move and are doing around the country. So what else is important is I believe that there is no better company to be a part of in the residential brokerage world if you are really looking to build your brand, right? If you've been in the business for 40 years and you're not looking to grow, you have your sales target you hit every year, fine with that, great. But if you really want to have a company backing you and who has incredibly talented employees on staff that really focus on helping you build your brand, there's no better company. But you can be successful at any company. You got to wake up every morning and work your tail off.
Has the thesis proved out for you in your team?
I would say that, I don't know if Compass per se, if I was a Berkshire Hathaway right now, if my income or my production would have changed. But I think my long-term trajectory and goals, I'll have a greater chance of hitting those with Compass because the talent on staff is we're able to do things others aren't. So,
Alon, you talked about being flexible, being nimble, being able to sort of react to things that are going on in the market in real time as part of your calculus to make that switch. And to say that we're in a time of transition where being nimble or being able to be flexible is a premium during the pandemic would be an understatement. We've seen a significant shift in a couple different areas of the commercial real estate world where companies are getting smaller, getting more efficient, maybe going remote entirely, maybe looking at geographies where they previously hadn't thought of opening an office because that's where their employees are or that's where their employees are moving. What changes have you seen in the residential market, whether it's from leasing to purchasing, purchasing to leasing, or moving to the suburbs or different parts of the city? Or we hear a lot about people coming down from New York who are maybe can work remotely now, wanting to find a lower cost of living. What sort of changes have you seen in your line of business since the pandemic has started?
Got it. So great question. So first of all, I think it's important to note that I specialize in Center City, right? So the issues that we're dealing with, or the market trends that we're dealing with, that I'm dealing with, are a lot different than someone who's working in South Jersey, Bucks County main line. Okay. On your point on New Yorkers, right? We have sellers all the time in Center City. Where are the New Yorkers? Well, they're not coming to buy your house, right? Because someone's not moving from the city of Manhattan, right? Or the city of New York, to another city. They're moving for maybe a more affordable place to get more land, to get a bigger house. They're coming to the suburbs, and we have great suburbs in Philadelphia. So the New Yorkers aren't really, sure, we see a few, but they're really hitting the suburban markets. And I know Philadelphia Inquirer, they'll have a big headline, New Yorkers are coming to Philadelphia, but they really should specify they're coming to the Philadelphia region or the surrounding
Philadelphia suburb, sure.
So in the territory that I work in, which is really Washington to Vine, river to river, we have really been hit because there is an exodus from cities, Philadelphia, Boston, New York, Chicago, and it's a real issue. I think it's a short-term issue. And our supply, here's what's interesting, is that our supply is actually very low. And our interest rates are very low.
Right.
Which typically would mean what? That pricing is going up, that buyers are swarming. It's not the case in Center City, at least. Okay. And definitely not the case in the luxury market. The luxury market has really gotten hit hard, mostly in the condo markets, for obvious reasons, right? People want to be around people. So yes, people are moving from Center City to the suburbs. Few reasons, right? You have people who were planning to start a family in 2 or 3 years, and they just decided to accelerate that move, right? And then we're not getting the typical empty nester group from the suburbs into town because they're saying, I'm going to wait until the virus is gone. And that's really hurting our business because those were the buyers.
Yeah, it's a trend that I've seen speaking to a couple of business leaders about how one of the themes of COVID is sort of these accelerated trends, where more so than these brand new trends, where people who maybe were going to move to the suburbs 2 to 3 years from now have just decided, well, what are we waiting for at this point? But it's a very interesting point about what you make about slowing down of the trend of people moving back to the suburbs sort of once their kids leave the house. And that's fascinating.
I mean, or into town.
Right, into town,
Yeah.
exactly.
What I'm interested in is, listen, I'm very confident, not just because of my business. I'm just very confident that all cities are going to come back. It's ultimately where people want to be. They want convenience. They want to be able to walk to work, and offices are going to come back. Come on. But what I'm interested in is, I've heard that people who were going to buy a condo at, let's say, 2,000 square feet, now they're thinking they really need more space, and maybe they're interested in a 5,000 square foot house, which wouldn't be the case for an empty nester because then there's stairs, etc. But now they're interested. So what I'm really curious to find out is if spending 9 months at home with your pool and your grandkids and your kids, if that has transformed your mindset down the line, not just in the short term, but actually 5, 6, 7, 8 years. That's what I'm really fascinated about. I would say, sure, some people are going to be that way, but I think ultimately, I think it's more short term.
I think we're creatures of habit, and a lot of people will, presumably there will be a day where this is a memory and we'll go back to what was previously comfortable.
Well, look, you guys were both much younger then, but back in the day, in the immediate aftermath of 9/11, no one was coming into cities, and no one was going to travel up an elevator into a high stack multi-tenant office building.
Right.
And we know that horrible memory faded, and many of us are grateful that it did. So I think there's a lot to be hopeful about, right? In terms of the rationale for people to live and work and recreate in urban areas, right?
Right.
And yet, we've lived through a very long moment where we've been affected by this public health crisis. We've been affected by, aspects involving how parts of our community interact and engage with each other, engage with law enforcement. There's been tremendous civic fallout in Philadelphia and other major cities from that. And my sense is that that's going to be a longer something to recover from and redeem.
Yes.
And I have no doubt in my mind, Alon, that some of the momentum that you've seen ebb it is accounted for in as a consequence of that.
Right. I think we were hitting on a lot of factors, right? We had the virus, and then you have the unrest. And I think we were seeing that. So Rittenhouse Square, right? You have, which is where I really focus on. You have an older demographic, in a lot of cases, and people have been around for 30, 40 years in their buildings. And
Yeah.
when they see a change on the streets, whether it's lack of law enforcement or rioting or whatever, listen, there's, we don't need to get into politics, but they get scared, right? For right or for wrong, right? So I had a client in a building on the square, and we were walking. This was about a month ago, and she said, "Come upstairs, come look at my apartment, put it for sale. I'm moving to Florida." And we did. We actually put it under contract, and the buyer got a really good price because she wanted out. But we're seeing that. So, Gary, you're absolutely right. The atmosphere on the street has definitely changed, and we have to do something about it. It's drugs, it's homelessness, it's a lot of things that we need to, that are hard problems to figure out.
So Dan alluded to all kinds of larger meta trends that we're seeing in the commercial side of the industry. One of the trends that's being explored by high level facilities decision makers, C teams, and otherwise is the concept of decentralization. In other words, going back to the future, having multiple offices in major metros rather than concentrating all of a workforce in a single hub office, either downtown or in a single suburban location. I don't know yet, and I'm interested to get your feedback as to whether the momentum around office decentralization is translating into a different activity pattern for your prospects looking at real estate downtown to live in.
Well, I think the obvious answer is, people now want an office, right, in their units, in their condos, for example. Right now, they're looking for a 2-bedroom,
Right,
again, or a 3-bedroom, convert the other one to an office. So definitely, Gary, having a home office is really important for people. How about a Peloton? Right? So I mean, look at Peloton stock price. I mean, now people want a yoga mat room and a Peloton room and an office, because they've been used to it.
and because they're going to work at least even when they go back to the office, it's unlikely to be full time.
Right.
It's going to be hybrid. Right.
Exactly. So they want places where they're more comfortable spending more time at home.
Are you finding are you finding that there's either an uptick or other direction in traffic of involving folks who are looking to buy or rent downtown and then working out in the suburbs?
So I haven't really come across people who work out in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my clients have offices downtown, or they're able to work
remotely.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to talk about how you've maybe changed your strategies about how you go about your own marketing of the properties that you're selling or the clients that you were going after. If people take a look at I'll do a little plug for you. If people go to your Instagram page at Alon Seltzer, they'll see you do these amazing high quality videos of you in the space that you're maybe marketing, and sort of talking directly to the camera about what the space looks like, and then have these like very cool video walkthroughs that I think people are sort of unique. I haven't seen a whole lot of those. Have you made any changes to the way that you go about sort of marketing yourself and your properties through this?
So I think that COVID accelerated kind of the technology, or forced agents to get better, right? Which I think is a good thing. It's a silver lining. So the videos are very important, right? Just like high quality imagery. Today, people shop on their cell phones, right? If you don't catch their eye real quick, they're moving on.
Mm-hmm.
And if your home doesn't look good in photography or video, or in a video, they're not interested. And then during COVID, people might not necessarily want to go see the place unless they've seen the right photos, the video, the Matterport tours. That's kind of like the first level. And then where I believe video really separates your listing from the next is, I think that people make the decision of what to buy. They're comparing one property to the next. They go home, they speak to their wife, right? And they're laying in bed and they go look at the photos again, look at the video. And what hits them emotionally, right, is the place they ultimately to buy, because that stuff it lasts forever, the video and the photos. You can always look at it. So I just think we're now focused more on the virtual showings, right? Videos. I did a tour, I kid you not. It was a building on 23rd and Market. I had a listing, 1 bedroom. I didn't even have anyone in the unit. I went there, took a video with my iPhone, sent it to the buyer's agent. He sent it to his client in Toronto who was buying for the daughter going to Drexel, sold it like that off of an iPhone video.
Amazing.
I was able to go in there and describe the unit, right? Make it personable. So that was actually kind of neat.
Alon, have you determined that as this trend towards video takes hold, that how you are approaching the content and the production has changed?
No, I think you have to spend time on making a good video. There's all these different services out there. I can't believe I still see people at realtors taking iPhone videos and then uploading them to the internet. Mm-hmm. So I think now it's just, again, it's an accelerant to producing the higher quality stuff. I'm just very picky about how things are shot. I drive my photographers crazy and my videographers, because I'm sitting there and almost like being a movie producer.
Right.
Right, because I want it to look a certain way.
Well, you're the executive producer,
well,
right?
Sure.
No, but I think to your point, before COVID hit, a lot of people would go look at real estate sort of like as an activity, as sort of like a leisure activity. You go walk around, you see what open houses there, you might pop in, see what people in your neighborhood are doing, walk into their houses and take a look at them. And to say the least, people are not doing that right now. So you really do. This is your sort of one opportunity to reach this broad group of people, because people are being very picky about what they actually want to go walk into and take a look at.
Absolutely. And by the way, another good thing that's happened with COVID is we're getting less of the looky-loos, right? if you're out shopping, you're likely to buy something the next 6 months.
Right.
You're not just risking, getting COVID. You're out and actually you care about buying.
There are these sort of like weird silver linings to the pandemic. I think we all agree it's a net negative, but there are all these weird silver linings, and that's definitely one of them. Well, tell people how they can sort of find you. I mean, you really are ingrained in the Center City, Philadelphia real estate market. If people are looking around, you're certainly someone they should be thinking about. How can people find you?
So I think the easiest way is you can just Google my name, and you have my cell number, my email, etc. You can follow me on Instagram. You can communicate with me that way. LinkedIn. It's great today. Everyone can find each other, right? And it's really easy.
Absolutely. Well, I suggest people check out your Instagram page, because I've really been enjoying it. And Alon, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. It's been great to get the perspective on what's kind of going on in the residential real estate market.
And this has been brilliant. We've now got a different sense of the rhythm of the market downtown.
And
Thanks a lot.
I think it's very, just, I'll leave you with this. I think it's very in line with what you guys are doing.
Absolutely.
Getting office space occupied. We're having the same battles because people are moving out. But it'll change.
Well, Alon,
Absolutely.
welcome to the tenant side.
I'm here.
We'll leave you with that. Thanks so much.
Take it easy.